Live. I'm your host, Scott Ritsema, for our second of these live programs, and we're very happy that you're joining us. I've got a very exciting program for you today with, once again, our good friends Erin and Lauren of Living Springs Retreat, and also a new face, Cynthia Bonas, who is the health provider at Living Springs Retreat. And not just that, the personalities, the engagement of those that are providing these important services to humanity is very, very helpful. But also, we're going to be bringing this to you, the viewer, in the release of the first ever 1 week detox program. More on that in just a minute, but they do a 1 week detox on site, as you know. We're going to learn about what they do on site and then how the viewer can actually participate in that as well from home. Thank you for today's sponsor, Christian Digital Network. From likes to lives changed. Check out and subscribe to CDN channels such as CDN Health, CDN Bible 101, Grow Your Money with God, and Christian Digital Network on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you for subscribing, and our sponsor is much appreciated. So we're going to be talking again to the health provider of Living Springs Retreat, Cynthia Bonas, on the bottom of your screen there, along with Erin and Lauren, our favorite twins. Today we're talking about the detox program at Living Springs Retreat. Welcome to today's LSR Live. I want to begin with Cynthia to introduce you, Cynthia, to the audience that has come to love Living Springs Retreat so much and not necessarily knowing who is the health provider there. And before we talk about the detox program, can you introduce yourself a little bit to the audience so they can know where you've come from, how you ended up as a part of Living Springs Retreat?
It is a pleasure to be able to talk to you today about our online detox course, but just a little bit about how I came to be here. I'm a missionary and I went to India in 2010 and ended up staying with Lois and Bill for a couple months. And while I was there, Lois said to Bill, why don't you ask Cynthia to go to visit Living Springs? So when I returned from India, I was there for 10 months. When I came back, I visited Living Springs and I simply loved the atmosphere. I loved the home setting and I was just drawn into it. And so that's how I got started coming here. Prior to that, I'm a registered nurse and I have been in the field for over 38 years. And I'm also a naturopath. And so coming here to work at Living Springs, it was just something that I had envisioned years and years ago, but never saw it until I went to India and then returned back here. So I have been with Living Springs since 2011, making it about 13 years. I couldn't believe it myself. I had to figure that out. But it's a pleasure to be here, working with them as the health provider, working with the lifestyle guest that comes in, and also being able to put them on a protocol that would actually help each person. And because each person comes with a different disease process or problems, we're able to work with each one individually to put them on the right track as to how to go about enjoying better health just by applying some of the things that we teach them while they're here.
That is so beautiful. So you really get to know these guests, and that's one thing that I'm impressed about Living Springs Retreat personnel is the love for people, and that extends to the viewer of this as well. You're a part of the digital Living Springs Retreat, and so Cynthia, thank you for sharing about your story. And now, as we talk about the detox program, I want to come back to you in just a minute, Cynthia. But first, I want to ask Lauren and Erin, can you give us just kind of a brief overview of what is the 1 week detox program that your lifestyle guests participate in when they arrive at Living Springs Retreat?
Well, there's a welcome meal on Sunday for lunch, and everyone's arriving and getting acclimated. But the real, I guess, if you will, detox starts on Monday and Tuesday when the guests are juicing. And they're administered a fresh juice every 2 hours between the hours of 8 and 4. And then there's a supper broth that's served at 6:30. So that's Monday and Tuesday. And they're also receiving one-on-one consultations twice during the week with the health provider so that they can get some one-on-one advice and recommendations from the health provider. Daily, there's an exercise class in the morning, as well as a cooking class, as well as in the morning. And then there's health lectures that they're listening to on various topics. And they're learning some natural remedies. Some come with aches and pains. And so we introduce them to poultices and using poultices as a way for treatments that are natural. And we've had some wonderful testimonies on those. So it's a learning experience, and it's also a detoxing experience, not only with the juices, but with steam sauna treatments every day, and then every day massage or a body rub treatment for relaxation, and it also helps with their lymphatic systems.
And I want to remind the viewer that the online detox program is going to be a mirror of what those who attend the actual in-person Living Springs retreat will be able to experience online. All the things that can be translated to the online, that is. livingspringsretreat.com. You'll want to go there to find the online detox program. I will let them tell you more about that in just a minute. But I'd really like to hear some of the stories of the people that you guys have gotten to know. I'll go back to Cynthia. Do one or two or three people just stand out? Maybe pick one that really touches the heart and helps us know what kind of turnaround can be made when you detox, when you go natural, when you have an experience like this where you really treat your body the way that God designed for it to be treated. What can happen? What kind of results can be expected or have happened in the past, Cynthia?
You for asking that question, Scott, because just about 2 months ago, we had a lifestyle guest, and she and her husband came. They did not know what to expect, but they came here and they said, this is intense. This is an intense week program, and they enjoyed it tremendously. The husband, he came actually, and he was due to have, he had two knee replacement, he had two hip replacement, and he was going to have two shoulder replacement. And so the week that he was here doing the detox, he actually detoxed really fast. And when that happens, a person comes in and they detox really fast because they have a lot of toxins in their body. So some people detox faster than others. His was really intense, and so he was not able to attend all of the lectures, but he still was able to go through the whole program. So when he left here, they went back on the protocol that was given to them because they have an entry and an exit protocol. So when they come in, we put them on a protocol, and then that would go for the whole week. When they leave, we give them an exit protocol. So when they go home, they can continue with the information that they have received and also the instructions while they were here. Well, I spoke to her this morning, and she said, Cynthia, I don't know what you guys did at that detox program, but myself and my husband, we have gained so much from being there at Living Spring. She says, I love it, and I want to come back again. She said, also, you would not believe it, but my husband no longer has to go and have his shoulders replaced. That was like fantastic. And she said he's lost 20 pounds since he went home about 2 months ago, and she has lost about 12 pounds. That is what we like. Those are the testimonies that we like to hear, because these are the things that really drive us to continue doing the detox program. It is intense, but at the same time, it pays dividends. And we
Yeah, it's
know that lifestyle is the way to go. When you incorporate the laws of health into your lifestyle, it doesn't matter when you start. My logo is it's never too late to start. And so they are in their 70s, going into 80s, and they were able to, and still is enjoying the results of just coming here for 1 week, going home and staying on that program. She says, we're still juicing, we're still exercising, and we are doing great. And I've never had so much energy for years.
I love it.
That's awesome.
It's worth it, isn't it? It's
It is.
intense, it's hard, but it's worth it. I mean,
And
everybody
it's,
who comes away from this feels better. They feel better physically. They feel, but how many people do you have at the end of it? They're like, "Oh, I feel just miserable and depressed after, exercising and being in
Doesn't
nature and
happen.
eating healthy."
we have none.
Zero.
And it's sacrificial. It's sacrifice. You have to sacrifice. You have to give up some things. The things that made you sick in the past, you have to give those things up so you can incorporate the new things that you're learning so that when you experience that kind of health, you don't want to go back. You want to just keep pressing forward.
Yep,
Yes.
yep. And I want to go to Erin for another testimonial and story of the people that you guys have come to love so much. But that piece on sacrifice, Cynthia, that you just said, you have to think about the addiction and the bad habits and the bad diet and the sedentary living and the ways that we're messing ourselves up. Those are like chains upon us. And when we release those, yes, we have to sacrifice. Yes, it's hard to get off of the bad habits. But at the end, when you look back on those chains on the ground, instead of weighing you down and burdening you, you're like, well, that wasn't much of a sacrifice. I got rid of the thing that was ruining my life. So it feels like a sacrifice at first, but in the end, you just feel free, don't you? And Erin, tell us somebody that has really, spoken to you in your journey there here at Living Springs Retreat. Give us a story.
Sure. Well, one lady comes to mind. She came to us with in advanced stages of adrenal cancer. She was in stage 4, and a lady in her 70s. And as I was getting to know her the first day she walked through the door, there was some sadness in her eyes, and even some I could see some regret based on what she was telling me about her lifestyle and her choices. But I could also hear faith in our conversation, faith in God. She came through the door by faith, through the doors of Living Springs, and with hope. And so I can remember that it was just the second day of the juice fast. So it would have been Tuesday. She and I were walking together during exercise class. We had just done all of our stretches as a group, and then we break off and we do some walking around the property, breathing in the fresh air and climbing the hills. And we reached one of the steepest hills on the property. And she says, "You know what, Erin? I could run up this hill." And she says, "I'm going to do it." And so she just takes off and she literally runs up this hill. We call it Mount Zion because it's huge. And she runs up to the top of the hill. And granted, this is a juicing day and she has cancer, but she had that desire to run up that hill and she made it to the top. And much to everybody's surprise, because everybody heard about it that day, and some of us were watching in amazement, uh, that she had such an amazing and fast turnaround. And you can really see how the juicing impacts our guests positively. They're happier, their joints are feeling better, they want to move. Juicing can be really challenging. But there's also sort of a burst of energy that many of them do get because they're in the sauna and they're sweating, and the exercises and the stretches really help them to feel better. So they want to move, and I was just so proud of her. And as I got to know her a little bit better, I discovered she had a beautiful singing voice. And it was at the very end of the week that Cynthia and this lovely lifestyle guest, they actually did a duet together. And it was just beautiful. Naomi played the piano, and Cynthia and her name is Georgia, and and they sang a beautiful duet. And I just remember thinking, God put a new song in her mouth, as the psalmist writes. And she was singing to God. She was praising God for the progress and the hope and the encouragement that she was able to receive. So that story really sticks out to me in my mind of her, just her very fast turnaround.
That is just beautiful. It's inspiring. And as she was running up that hill in my mind's eye, I was imagining those ankle weights just coming off, metaphorically speaking, from my comments earlier, and you can feel that freedom in her story, in her testimony. And every viewer of this can do this too. We're talking about the online course where all the things that you learn in person there, you're learning through this digital platform. And folks who've been following the social media, you've learned so many of these principles. And I never read in the comments people regretting it and going, oh, I just miss, the way I felt after I ate junk food, the next morning I just felt so great. No, nobody says that kind of thing, because when we start to apply these things step by step, and the online course walks you through that at livingspringsretreat.com. It's the banner at the top of the page. You'll learn these things. But one thing we should probably mention to people, Lauren, can you tell me how are the first couple of days of the detox? I mean, we're kind of jumping to the end about how great people feel. Is there a little bit of a hurdle to get over, a speed bump at the beginning where it sometimes gets worse before it gets better in the initial days?
Yes, certainly. For some, it can be more challenging than others because everyone has had different experiences, and their bodies are dealing with different loads of toxicity. Some have come here and they are, you could say, fasting junkies. They've done maybe a month long juice fast before, and others have done water fasts. And then some, it's the first time. So you're going to have different experiences. For some, you can definitely see the look on their face first thing Monday morning when they come out to exercise class. You can see kind of a little bit, their face tells a story about what they're going through. For many people, it's okay. We're going to stay near the bathroom because that's where I need to be because of the fasting and the things that we're giving them to clean their bowels. Yeah, it can be embarrassing to talk about that, but people need to learn that a cleansed bowel is a way to detox. And so the guests are having to deal with the, I guess, if you will, stress of that. And also, some of them feel a bit tired. Detoxing can make you feel tired. But that's why we try to incorporate and exercise and to let them know, okay, walk around every hour, stand up, do some stretches, keep drinking water. Even though we're giving you juice, it's still important to drink water. And that will give you the energy and help your body to cleanse continually. So yes, as over the years, we've noticed that Tuesdays can even be better for other people, like Monday's the hardest. And then Tuesday, okay, you're coming out more and more. It's not as bad. For some people, it's the opposite. It's just those first 2 days. But definitely by Saturday, by Sabbath, everybody has a smile on their face. And one thing about this detox is that it's impressionable. And I think people realize that although the fasting part and the detox, yeah, it's not very fun, and there are some that want to give up, we warn them ahead of time and we say, okay, it's not going to be the easiest thing in the world to do, but we're here to support you. And that's where love comes in, and communication with them and support and talking with them and praying with them. But they learn these laws of health are impressionable. And I know it's the work of the Holy Spirit working on them throughout the week. But our goal and our prayer for them is that they will continue after they leave, because it's one thing to do something 7 days, but for the rest of their lives to incorporate these things is the impression that we want them to leave with. And it's not going to be perfect after they leave. In fact, I spoke with a guest who came in May of this year, and actually I've been emailing her some, and she said she kind of fell off the bandwagon a little bit because of circumstances in her life, some family emergencies. But she said she was doing 3 mornings a week, her jogging exercises, her rebounding, and she was having trouble with her hips when she got here. But she says her hips feel great, and that when the circumstances, the emergencies in her life now, when they end, she's going to get back on track. But for her to say that means she had the impressions in her heart when she was here. And when you fall off something good, your mind says, I want to get back on and do what's good, because it was so impressionable. And we know that's the work of the Holy Spirit and answered prayer. So that's answered prayer right there.
That's beautiful. And I think all of us have been there where we know what works, what is right, what is best. And when you divert from that, you're just like, this is not where I want to be. And that's where grace comes in, messed up here, but get back up. The Bible says that a righteous man may fall 7 times, but he gets back up. That's in the Proverbs. 7 times. I feel like I've messed up so many times in my life, says every person who's honest. But Jesus is there, ready to receive you again. And when it comes to our health choices, it's the same thing. So I find that story of restoration, redemption, and really hope to be inspiring to me. And I think every viewer as well. And whether the viewer is a regular viewing these and getting the tidbits, or you're going through the comprehensive online course that we're mentioning here on this stream, I hope that you apply the lessons that you hear. Try something, and you might hear so many things all at once, and you just try one or two of them. Like Lauren and Erin, of course, are the exercise consultants at the Living Springs retreat. And you heard about jogging and rebounding. And I want to come back to Cynthia in just a moment, but could you just give us a little bit on what is rebounding? In my background, that's playing basketball when the ball, bounces off the rim and you go grab it. What is this thing called rebounding? And then also, are you teaching in the online course? Are you teaching people all these exercises and how to do the juicing and what the proportions are for the best juices and for their detox, and just everything that you're teaching people in person, you're teaching them online? Is that correct?
Yes, Scott, just to answer your question first about the rebounder. Some of our guests, they know exactly what a rebounder is when they come here. They own one. And some have no idea what is a rebounder. And a rebounder is just a mini trampoline. And it's a great way to boost lymphatic flow. Just simply stepping on it, you're already your body has to work to stay balanced. So you're working all of the little stabilizer muscles in your legs. And those who come to us, many of them don't move very well. And so they'll step on a rebounder, they'll get a little nervous. But we have several rebounders here on the property. We have 2 Bellicon rebounders, which is like the Rolls Royce of rebounders. Very good quality. They're very quiet. They don't have springs, but they have bungees. And so it's almost like you're jumping on air and you feel like a kid again. So we have Bellicons, and then we just have some regular rebounders that we keep out on our porch. But many of them gravitate toward the rebounder. Those that are new to rebounding, they want to try it. And so we have a rebounder that has a rail. And so many of them feel more comfortable stepping on the rebounder that has the rail. They can hang on to it, and they can start to do what we call the health bounce, where they're just lifting their heels slightly off the mat and they're pushing down, and that creates a bounce, an up and down motion. And then they get a little bit more comfortable, and they can actually get some air under their feet. And so we introduce the rebounder to them, and we share the benefits of the rebounder, that it does indeed increase lymphatic flow, and it's just a fun way to exercise. Many of our guests, they come with arthritis, or they have gout, or they have osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, bone and joint issues. And so the rebounder is a nice way to have that low impact exercise. And of course, we're walking with them, and we emphasize, okay, take 5 laps around this this gravel area, and that's going to be a mile. So we encourage them to set small goals to get to a mile today or 2 miles. And some guests come here and they love to run, so they're running laps around our lifestyle center and around what we call Central Park, which is a large grouping of trees. Um, and so the rebounder is such a blessing for them. And Lauren and I have some rebounding videos that we're able to do on YouTube that they can actually watch and incorporate once they get home. And so that's a nice tool for them to have to hopefully keep them on track. But your other question, Scott, was are they able to get all of the, like, the recipes for the juicing and the recipes, the food recipes, and the exercise protocol? And yes, all of that is incorporated in the 1 week detox program online. All of that information is provided. So they'll have many different types of recipes that we introduce to them during cooking class, and they get every single recipe, and they'll see many of the recipes. They'll see how it's made in our cooking class, so they're equipped there. They'll see how Cynthia does a juicing day on Monday, the first day of juicing, and she'll bring out the juicer and she'll explain how to put it together and some of the best juicers that are out there. And she'll do a juicing class and show them how it's done. And then for exercise, Lauren and I take them through the same stretching routine. It's about 12, 13 different, you could say, exercises or moves or stretches that we do, and they get used to doing it every single day, and they become more familiar with it, so they get more confident in their movement patterns, and they have a plan when they go home.
That's wonderful. I want to go back to Cynthia and ask you, Cynthia, is there anything that's a part of the 1 week detox that hasn't been mentioned yet? And then also, when you do the online version of this, as Erin just shared, you're learning these things. You're learning how to do them in a systematic way. Tell us more about that. And also, is there anything that happens there in that week that we haven't discussed yet?
Well, just to go back to the exercise, we do have the program that they can follow. And one of the things we have included in this online program is having a detox, the way they detox. We have the saunas here, but what we have included is we're purchasing one from Amazon. They're pretty reasonable, maybe about 200. It depends on the finance that they can actually buy one. And we actually have a demonstration, which I did, which would show them exactly how to detox at home safely. Now, if they do not have a sauna, they can also do one in the shower. We encourage them to do like 3 minutes hot, 30 seconds cold when they're taking a shower, and to do about 3 to 4 repetitions. That would help them to detox as well. And one of the good things about at the end of the detox, we encourage them to rest, because that is very important to give the body a rest to recuperate from the detox that they've done. And some people are able to do that quite nicely. I remember we had a lady here, I think she was 97. Her name was, we called her Granny. And Granny would go on the rebounder and she would rebound like she was an acrobat. And it was very nice. For years, we kept up with her. And then the daughter called and said that she had passed away a few years later. So that's one of the things. The other thing that we actually do is we, as Lauren says, we demonstrate the juicing. We actually talk about the machine that we can use for juicing. And many people like it because it's very simple to operate. It's no need in buying an expensive machine and not using it. So this one actually shows you very nicely how to do juice and to be able to enjoy the juicing on a regular basis. The other thing that we do with the juicing, the 2 juicing days, is we give a protein drink. And that protein drink actually helps to, as the person breaks down the body's breaking down and getting rid of the toxins. We want to build up what they're losing. So they get 2 protein drinks on Monday, and they get 3 protein drinks on Tuesday. And what that does, it actually keeps them from getting hungry for the first 2 days. So by Tuesday, they are looking forward to Wednesday because that's their eating day. So we do that and incorporate those things. I also, when they're here at the Lifestyle Center, we do um, um, a protocol with them when they come in, see what they have, what their problems are, and then we give them something to go with so they can continue to apply the same things that they've used while they were here at the Lifestyle Center. So,
Thank you, Cynthia. Lauren, I've got a question. Who is a good candidate for you ought to do a detox? You ought to do a 7-day program like this, whether in person or online. Um, how do you know if you need to do it or would benefit from doing it? Who describe the kinds of people that ought to consider this?
Well, Scott, that's a good question because really all of us are exposed to toxins on some level, whether it be our food, whether it be our water, air, clothing, even. And then there are those who have lifestyles that involve smoking, tobacco, over the counter drugs, or even the other kind of drugs, caffeine, nicotine, anything with "ine" at the end. Okay, then it's time for a serious detox because these things on the body stress the body out. And so to start, that's why I love this online program that we're offering, is because those who wouldn't be able to necessarily come here and experience it with us, they can do it from the comfort of their own home. And I'm so glad to still be offering the coming to the retreat as well, where we meet people here. But anyone can do a detox. I recommend anyone to do it, and they can start right away. And you don't have to be old or middle aged or young. It's really anyone can start.
When you mentioned caffeine, that's just about everybody, right? 90% of people. And I was thinking also about if you're just eating junk food, you might not live in a smoggy city or smoke or some of the other things that are good to detox from. But, have I been eating too much sugar? It just to move from a diet that I know is not ideal to a better lifestyle, a detox program seems to be a very good avenue into that because it's kind of a reset. You're like, all right, rip that band-aid off, none of that. For a few days, I'm only doing this, and then we add this, and then we add this, and then we launch out into just a better lifestyle altogether. So this, I think, is not just a 7-day experience. The detox is awesome, but it's where it takes you too, from what you learned here, how great you feel, and what you want to do afterward because you want those same results going forward. And then you don't re-toxify, right? We make a lot of choices, don't we, that really bring on excess toxins. Some of them we can't help, like you mentioned, the air and the water around us. You can filter your water, right? You can open your window. You know where the most unhealthy air is in your bedroom if you sleep with your windows closed with breathing in and out all night. So, we can make a lot of choices not to retoxify too, can't we? And do you learn that in the course? You learn how to detoxify, and you also learn how to go forward without as much toxic load upon you?
Yes, absolutely. And we even show them how to fold their bedding down in such a way where it can air out, because as we sleep, we are sweating. And in the morning, all of us, we want to make the bed, well, most of us who want to keep our bedrooms neat and tidy, we think, well, we need to make our bed right away. But the problem with that is that you're adding darkness to wet, to something that's maybe a bit damp, like our bedding. And so we teach them how to do that. We teach them to put sunlight in their rooms, opening up the blinds, and putting the window open a little bit for that ventilation, like you said, to detoxify the room.
And I just want to add too, because we're on that subject
of detox is that many of our guests come and they know they should be drinking water, but they just they don't really have that desire to do it. But when they start exercising more and they start sweating and they're in the sauna, now they're reaching for their water, and we introduce Celtic salt. So every time they step out of the sauna, we give them a couple crystals of salt for them to put on their tongue, and we say, just let it absorb on your tongue, and then you can drink some more water, and that helps the water enter more fully into the cell. So they're learning about how to have the right type of salt. Salt is good, and we need salt. But we don't we want the good salt, not the bad salt. So we introduce the Celtic salt, we introduce the Himalayan salt, and even through proper breathing. In exercise class, we teach them, okay, we're going to learn to breathe more through the nose. The nose is a very forgotten piece of real estate on the front of our skull, and most of us, we mouth breathe, and so the nose is like our natural air purifier. So the air is conditioned so that by the time the air reaches the lungs, we're able to actually extract more oxygen than we could breathing through the mouth. So they're learning these very simple ways to detox, every day. Every day we should be detoxing. And so it just becomes more eye-opening. They're learning about their bodies. They get inspired because, like you said, Scott, that they're feeling better. And it's motivating them to continue one day at a time.
And Scott, I'd just like to add to that as well. When you ask the question, who should detox? The truth is, we all should detox. We all need the detox. Whether you're eating bad or you're eating good, you really should detox, because we have so many things in the environment that tells us or causes us to get sick. And so eating healthy, detox. Eating bad, still need a detox. Just wanted to add that.
I like that. That's kind of where I was going with the question. I think everybody needs it. And I wanted people to hear it from you guys. And Lauren shared that as well, that really we all could afford to do that. And, all the little tidbits you're picking up here about the bedspread and about the window and the nose. And there are hundreds of these. Stay tuned. Stick with Living Springs Retreat. Keep watching the videos, the live. We're going to be in a few weeks having a live where that's not pre-recorded, like our first pilot programs here that we've been doing here in August of 2024. We're going to be doing live where you are commenting, you are joining us on the screen. You see when it's going to be. August 28 is our next and final pre-recorded live, and then starting in September, live, Living Springs Retreat live with you a part of it, commenting, questions answered. We're going to have guests from different places. You'll continue to hear a lot from your favorite Living Springs Retreat personalities and friends, but also we're going to be bringing on guests from all over the world on the health topic. So Wednesdays in September, be ready to be live with us at 7 p.m. And we will have another one of these, of course, in August, as you see on the screen. But if you want the totality, I like to do things comprehensively, where I pick up a tidbit here and there on the shorts and on the videos and the things that all the Living Springs persons are saying today. But if you want that, you see it on the screen. Start your 1-week detox online course today, and it systematically, comprehensively takes you through, so you don't miss a single tidbit because you didn't watch every video that came out. And this is an offering that Living Springs is making because they realize not everybody can come to the in-person retreat. And so it's a new service, it's a new offering, and I feel like I need some fireworks to fire off right now or something, because this is a big live stream event where we're announcing the Living Springs Retreat 1-week online detox program. Take advantage of that. You will not regret it. Your health and your body and your mind and how you feel will thank you for it. It's a minor investment for the most valuable asset you have, and that is your health. So any final words as we close? If any of our Cynthia, Lauren, Erin, anything you wish you would have said in the program ended, give us one last thought if there's anything lingering to say.
I'd like to say that one of the highlights of the week program here is that we do have a spiritual aspect in it. Every morning, we have the lifestyle guests join us for worship every morning. And many of them have strayed away from God. But by coming every day, every morning, even we've had atheists, we've had Buddhists who've come, and they have come to our the sessions, and they really enjoyed it. My suggestion would be to open the Word of God, start with the Psalms. There's so many praises that we can just connect with Him. And so even though we're not having that worship time, you can have your own worship time or your own devotional time every day, because God is the healer. And if you're looking for healing, that's the place to go, in His Word.
Absolutely. And I love those Psalms. And my favorite devotional ever, it's actually the second best-selling Christian nonfiction book in history. It's called Steps to Christ. That's a wonderful, wonderful book. Whether you know nothing about Christianity or you've been a Christian for 50 years, whatever religious background you have, it gives you a good introduction to a God of love and to understand who Jesus is. Erin, Lauren, any last words?
One of my favorite texts on healing is from the Psalms. You're mentioning the Psalms, Cynthia, and Psalm 107:20 is one of the many verses that I claim for our guests who come. And it says, He sent forth His word and He healed them and He delivered them from their destructions. And so we can claim that promise every day, whether it's physical healing that we need, whether it's spiritual or mental or emotional, even in our relationships. Many of our guests go home and their relationships are better because they feel better. And you're able to really have a whole new life, a whole new mindset when you feel better and you learn more about how to take care of your body for the glory of God. For the glory of God. It truly is a privilege to be in this line of work. I don't take it lightly. And every day we pray, especially when the guests are here. But after they leave, we continue to pray for them, that they would succeed and be happy in Christ. And there are some that aren't in Christ when they're here, but there was even a success story of a lady who got rebaptized, who came here earlier this year. Actually, it was last year, sorry. And she was rebaptized this year, and she sent us a lovely email and expressed her love and gratitude. And we give God praise for that and echo the prayer that John, the Apostle John, 3 John 2, Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospers.
That's a great way to end it. We love you all. Thanks for watching. You're a part of this, and we'll see you next time on LSR Live.